Hey there, I'm Mark Lohman from Sophos. I'm one of the driving forces behind CryptoGuard, our anti-ransomware technology on display in this Sophos XOps video. In it, I'll show you why defending against a remote ransomware attack is technically very different than a local one. For this demonstration, I'll be using a sample from the LockBit ransomware family, which is quite prevalent today. However, the shown principle applies universally to all ransomware families, including Alpha, Royal, Akira, and even older ones like the original CryptoLocker from 2013 and WannaCry. So, let's go! I have two virtual machines open and both run Windows. The right machine runs Windows 11 and is protected by Sophos Intercept X, and the machine on the left running Windows 10 is purposely left unmanaged, so unprotected. Most businesses have at least one unmanaged machine because active asset management is hard. Microsoft acknowledges this as well and recently reported that 80% of ransomware attacks today originate from an unmanaged machine. Adversaries actively hunt for these machines to remain under the radar of defenses. I have some documents on the protected machine which are shared with other machines on the network, just like a typical business environment. To keep this demo short, I will leave out the part where the threat actor infiltrates the network and compromises the machine. Now, I'll simply drop a sample of the LockBit ransomware onto the Sophos protected machine. Sophos immediately identifies and isolates the threat, just what you would expect. But other protection layers could have identified the threat as well, including deep learning or at runtime by our proprietary behavior analysis and memory inspection technologies, curated by Sophos AI and Sophos Labs. The detection is logged on the endpoint and in Sophos Central. And since ransomware is a high-impact malware, the administrator will also receive an email alert for this event. Now, let's do this again, but now from the unmanaged machine. Let's assume the adversary has compromised the device on the left and are deploying the same ransomware. Since it is expected that the LockBit ransomware will successfully encrypt the local files here, I'm going to create a data histogram of a text file on the desktop. I use a freeware hex editor for this, HXD, so we can compare the frequency distribution of the file before and after encryption. Ha! Look, you can see the space character, hex 20, as well as the upper and lowercase characters. This is definitely a text file. The remote documents are accessible from this desktop thanks to the available network map drive to the shared folder on the Sophos protected machine. However, a threat actor would have scanned the network, identified and targeted every remote share via the UNC paths, so network mappings are not needed and neither is a domain admin account. When I run the ransomware, the files on the left machine are becoming encrypted, and the network map data is also under attack, evidenced by the ransom node also appearing on the right machine. When the Sophos machine is receiving the now encrypted files, you will notice a very different detection name. It's not LockBit detected, but ransomware attack blocked. This is because there was no malware to identify. The ransomware itself was never sent to the protected machine. This also means that protection layers based on threat signatures, machine learning or artificial intelligence, indicators of attack, script control, memory scanning, exploit blocking, and even detectors based on security signals sourced from the CPU hardware are all out of play. So how did we do it? Well, Sophos Intercept X contains a unique technology called CryptoGuard, which doesn't hunt for ransomware, but instead monitors for file changes. It does this with a driver as part of the operating system itself, residing in the kernel. CryptoGuard knows the cryptographic state of documents leaving the machine and checks the returning changes for encryption. It does so using mathematical analysis that evaluates data histograms and determines if data is encrypted, compressed, or not encrypted. This universal approach detects ransomware activity from any machine in a network, even if there is no malware on the protected machine itself. It will also automatically roll back the original versions of the attacked files and isolate the remote machine so it can no longer access the shared data. Despite remote ransomware being a problem since 2013, Microsoft recently reported that 60% of ransomware incidents now involve remote encryption, a clear and present danger for organizations. This factor contributes to the persistence of ransomware in general. Therefore, it's crucial to choose a product that actively monitors and safeguards your files right from the start. CryptoGuard is part of Sophos Intercept X since 2016 and does not need regular updates to be effective against future ransomware. If you're a bit tech savvy and know how to safely handle malware, you could carefully replicate my example and see for yourself how your next-gen endpoint solution protects against remote encryption, but be ready for a surprise. And if you need help tracking unmanaged machines on the network, be sure to check out Sophos NDR, our network detection and response product that also identifies unmanaged machines. Anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time, stay safe.